The Dog by TCC is a brand new routine with multiple magic moments that ends with a card to impossible location. Is this balloon dog effect right for you? Stick around to find out. Now, let's discuss everything you need to know about this effect. Let's first start off by talking about what you receive when you buy the dog. When you buy the dog, you get this nice white box. Inside the box, you get everything you need to do this effect, except for the deck of playing cards and a bag. You get a pack of balloons, a balloon pump, a tool that lets you make the gimmicks, and scissors. You also get the tutorial. What is the quality of the gimmick? You make all the gimmicks yourself. We'll talk more about it later, but it really is quite simple to make the gimmicks. And as for the props you receive, the pump works well, the tool to make the gimmick is good as well, and the scissors are good too. However, be careful with the scissors. They collapse for less pocket space, but they are sharp. So be careful when you're opening them up so you don't get cut. Also, my scissors came a little bit rusted, which was a little bit concerning, but I'm sure that mine just had a defect. I think if you get this, you should buy the Qualitex 260 balloons instead of the ones you get here, because the ones in the package can break a bit easy. You do have to make a new gimmick every single performance, which is something you guys will want to be aware of. Another thing is that you probably don't want to make the gimmick too far in advance of your performance. I would make the gimmick max 3 is pushing it days before the performance to prevent it from prematurely deflating. That's why I feel like this would be a great piece for a close-up show or parlor show. You can make your gimmick at home before you leave. But don't be put off by the fact that you have to make your own gimmick, because this is a great piece of magic regardless. Another fun thing about it is that you can gift the spectator with this balloon dog. So if there are kids in your audience, this is a nice piece of magic, a gift magic. Now, how is the tutorial? The tutorial is around 30 minutes long. It is in English and the video has subtitles. The video is streamable and downloadable. What they cover in the tutorial is what you get. How to set up the gimmick, how to handle the balloon dog, and how to put it all together into a routine. There is also a bonus section where you learn to do the dog with 2 signed cards instead of 2 unsigned cards. That is definitely a great handling, because it reinforces the fact that the card in the balloon really was their card. Is this a social media or a real life effect? As this is a longer routine, I think this would be a lot better for a real world performance than it would be for social media. Now let's talk angles. What are the angles with this? With this trick, the dirty moves mostly happen inside the bag or backpack. I would say the angles for the routine overall, though, are 180 degrees. Live performances. There aren't live performances in the tutorial, but that's okay, because they go through what the routine actually is in the tutorial. So that's fun. Now, I really like this, especially if you're a balloon twister or a children's entertainer, because people who already tie balloons, it's always great to add magic to stuff you already do. But speaking of which, let's talk about examinability. Is this examinable? At the end of the routine, the card can be handed out, and the balloon animal can be handed out for examination as well. So yes, everything is examinable. Now let's talk about the difficulty and practicality of the dog. When it comes to the difficulty of this routine, I don't think this is too hard at all. The only sleight you really need to know how to do is to force a card. The difficulty is more in the knack of tying the balloon animal properly. You can either do it in front of your audience, or you can do it before the show. This would be really practical for a close-up show or parlor-sized show. A stage show might work, but the cards could be a bit small for that. This would also really work well at a kid show, especially if you used Pokemon cards or something else for this instead of playing cards. That would be so fun. But with practicality. This isn't something you're going to do walk around. You're not going to repeat it and go table to table to table and repeat it over and over and over again. But is there any DIY? Yes, there is DIY required before each performance. You have to make your own balloon gimmick. However, it's not excessive DIY. Once you learn how to do this well, you could probably complete it in maybe 2 minutes, maybe 3. Pocket space. When it comes to pocket space, you're not going to be doing this walk around. It's not a walk around effect. It's a close-up show or a parlor effect. So you will need not be carrying the gimmick in your pocket. However, if you wanted to, the gimmick is slightly larger than a ping pong ball. So you probably could carry it in your pocket. But you also need a bag, which can be stored flat, which is nice. You also need a deck of cards, a balloon pumper, a deflated balloon that matches the color of the gimmick. And if you are a children's entertainer, you likely already carry all of these props. What is the reset like? The effects reset is 1 to 2 minutes, or 2 to 3 minutes. The reset is just making a new gimmick. If you have a bunch of gimmicks pre-made, the reset's instant, so you could do this, go table to table, if you really wanted to, if you had a bunch of gimmicks made. What is the price of this? The price of the dog is $35 US, and for all the props you receive and the tools, I think this is a good price. This is worth 35 bucks. Now, what are the pros and cons of this? The pros are this is a great routine. There are multiple magic moments. This is a good price for what you get. Good for kid shows. It's good for adult shows. This is fun to perform, and you're giving the audience a gift. The balloon animal. I'm a big fan of gift magic, so I like this a lot. The cons are there is DIY required before each performance. The balloons you get aren't the best quality. They work really well, but Qualitex 260 I've had better experiences with. But that's all for the pros and cons. Now, what percent am I giving the dog? I'm going to give the dog a 90%. I really like this, and I will be doing this in my parlor shows. This is super fun because everyone likes balloon animals. Everyone likes getting a gift, and there are also some really cool handlings on here. I'm going to be doing the signed card handling. And I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope this helped you determine whether or not the dog is for you. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.